Hello, my name is Katie, co-founder of Unfold, and welcome to this 10-minute tune-up. Today we're going to talk about belly breathing, and I'm going to teach you a technique called jellyfish belly breathing, which really helps to address some of the core issues that I see students having when they start with this practice. So briefly, we're going to talk about the technique, and then we're going to do it together. When people start belly breathing, there's often an assumption that you need to really push your belly out or force your belly out and breathe into your belly. But that's not really true. Our lungs are located in our rib cage. So we're not breathing into our belly, we're breathing into our lungs. The reason that the belly expands a little bit when we breathe with our thoracic diaphragm is because our thoracic diaphragm sits right between our lungs, the upper part of our torso, and then the bottom part of our torso where our abdominal organs are. So in the thoracic diaphragm, it's sort of like a dome-shaped muscle. When that muscle contracts, it moves down and it pulls air into the body. And when it contracts and moves down to pull air into the body, the abdominal organs are gently pushed down. And that's why your belly expands a little bit. You're not breathing into your belly. The abdominal organs are just shifted out a little bit. So this isn't a forced action. You don't need to push your belly out. You don't need to over-engineer the breath. The other thing that I often hear is people want to completely eliminate any movement in the chest. And that's not really true either. Again, our lungs are located in the chest. So there's going to be a little bit of movement in the chest, in the upper torso here, because there just needs to be. So you don't need to force air into the belly, and you don't need to overly restrict any movement in the chest. What we do want to start to practice feeling, which is what we're going to do with our technique, is not only the low belly expanding gently, effortlessly as you breathe, but also the sides of the waist expanding with the breath. There's a lot of movement potential in the sides of the ribs and the sides of the waist. And when we use our thoracic diaphragm to not only gently expand the belly, but also the sides of the waist, what happens is we create a more balanced, three-dimensional breath. It's more optimal for so many different reasons. It improves our posture, it improves our core stability, it improves our capacity to breathe, and we'll just ultimately feel a lot better by improving our breath pattern. So I'm going to teach you the technique now, jellyfish belly breathing. And I love this technique. I think it's a really fun visual. So if you imagine a jellyfish in your mind, and you can do this with your hands, interlace your fingers like this, the top of a jellyfish, that domed part of the jellyfish, is quite similar to the shape of our thoracic diaphragm. So what I want you to do is just start moving your arms like this. Try not to overthink it. And you'll see this is kind of similar to the way that a jellyfish moves through the water, right? This is how they propel themselves up and down. And similarly, this is how our thoracic diaphragm contracts and relaxes. So you keep doing this movement, and I'm going to break it down. When our diaphragm, our thoracic diaphragm, contracts and moves down, it pulls air into the body, and this is what creates that pushing downward of the abdominal organs, and the belly gently expands, and the sides of the waist expand. When the thoracic diaphragm relaxes and moves back up, the sides of the waist come back in, the navel draws back towards the spine, and this relaxation of the thoracic diaphragm moves the breath out. So instead of thinking about, I need to limit movement in my chest, expand my belly as much as I can, I want you to let these two areas move very naturally and think more intentionally today about moving the sensation of expansion into the sides of the waist and the sides of the ribs. We're going to do this diaphragmatic jellyfish belly breathing breath for a few minutes, and then we'll sit quietly for a minute or so and just observe the sensations. There's a really lovely, soothing, calming effect to this practice. All right, so let's get started. Start with good posture. You might want to rock your hips from side to side a little bit. And let's do a few backwards shoulder rolls just to kind of let go of any unnecessary tension. And then do an easy twist. Just take it to the right. Take a breath or two. And then take it to the left. Take a breath or two. And then bring it back to center. Let's take those hands right behind the head. Lean back, look up. Let's take a couple of breaths in our seated cow pose. And come on back to center. All right, let's begin by interlacing those fingers, and we'll do our jellyfish movement a few times. Inhale, move the breath down. Feel the sides of the waist expand, just like that jellyfish. Exhale, draw the navel and gently draw the sides of the waist back towards the midline. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Okay, pause that. You can continue to do this hand motion. It's a really soothing action, so if it felt good for you, continue. If not, I'm going to invite you to place your hands right on the sides of the ribs. All right, you can close your eyes if you like. We're going to move the breath in and out of the nose if that's comfortable, and we're going to start to just deepen and lengthen the breath just a little bit. Okay, so as you inhale, visualize that breath moving down, the thoracic diaphragm moving down. Feel a little inflation in the belly and a little inflation, expansion through the sides of the ribs. Exhale, draw everything back to the midline, effortlessly, gently. Keep going. Now, whatever hand motion you're doing, either hands on the sides of the waist or if you're doing that jellyfish action, relax the arms, let the arms rest comfortably, close your eyes. In and out of the nose, find your breath. And just very gently, you don't need to overthink or over-engineer this. As the breath moves in, you'll feel a gentle expansion of the lower abdomen, a gentle expansion of the sides of the waist. You'll feel the lungs inflate, so the chest will lift a little bit. And as you exhale, everything gently draws back towards the midline. I'm going to give you about a minute of quiet time just to practice feeling this, observing, noticing, getting a little more sensitive, bringing a little more awareness to the way that diaphragmatic belly breath feels for you. Okay, now let go of any focusing of your breathing technique. Just breathe totally naturally. And notice any shifts in your state of mind after breathing in this way. Start to move your awareness outward back into the space and slowly open up your eyes. Good. Quick recap. You can allow the chest to move a little bit when you belly breathe. You don't need to restrict this area. Your belly moves a little, but you don't need to overdo it or force your abdominal muscles out in any way. Focus more on the lateral expansion of the rib cage and of the sides of the waist to create that three-dimensional, 360-degree, expansive, balanced, diaphragmatic belly breath, just like a jellyfish. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in.